Hello IT channel, as I mentioned earlier in the week, we will be recording our first Q&A today. So I've got Marc Sumner with me. We've had plenty of questions in, I've picked the top three, so we'll be answering them now. So Marc, question one we've had in today is from Ryan, who works for a distributor, and he's written, I'm still on furlough with no sign of going back, should I be looking? I know we've had this earlier in the week, but I think it'd be important for you to touch on again.
Yeah, I put this post out earlier in the week, but yeah, to answer Ryan's question, if you're on furlough right now, you're not going back to your company. That's my opinion as a fact. It's just my opinion, but I really strongly believe that. If you weren't in the building September 1st, you're not going back to the company. Now, what you should be doing about it is really having an open conversation with your hiring manager or your direct line manager to actually ask if you are going back, because if you're not, demand an answer. You cannot wait to the end of the furlough scheme, which is October the 31st. To find out actually you're not going to go back to the building. So they should be demanding answers from you if you're actually even considering a move anyway. So if you're not getting an answer from your hiring manager, take it as you're not going back. And unfortunately, that's going to probably worry a few people. And I know it's a scary answer, but unfortunately, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly that. And it's important for them to address that with their hiring managers and being quite frank and honest with them.
Yeah, honesty is the best policy. And let's be honest. If they don't know the answer, if you're going back, if they say, "Oh, actually, Marc, I can't give you an answer. I'm not sure at the moment," they're coping without you anyway. They're actually managed to actually cope for the business. That will tell you something in itself. You're not that important to that business. I know, again, it sounds horrible to say, but if they're coping without you already, you're not that important. So you're almost like the last cog of the wheel. So if it was me, get your CV done, start applying, and if the worst case scenario is you can actually get a job, and if you do go back, you had something as an insurance policy. But to my eyes, you're not going back.
Cool, okay. And Simon from a reseller said, I've been made redundant. It doesn't matter how many jobs I apply for, I just can't get any interviews. What would you suggest for Simon?
Yeah, now this is a difficult one because there's going to be lots of recruiters who have been on furlough. There's still going to be lots of internal recruiters that have been on furlough. There might be hiring managers that are on furlough. But if you're applying for a role and you're just hoping that you're going to get some response back from the company, miraculously via email, think again. You've got to be professionally persistent. Job hunting is a full-time job. So you've got to be going out there, sending up the application, following up with a phone call and demanding an answer. If you don't get the answer you want, you're going to have to then re-say yourself to either the hiring manager or you're going to have to move on. Now, if you're doing that on a daily basis to internal recruiters, and almost your own network as well, your own connections, you will start to get interviews. But sending off applications, you're just hoping that you're going to get a response, suicide. It's a full-time job trying to get a job, so apply for the job, call up, follow up, demand an answer. Apply for the internal recruiter, call up, demand an answer. Use your own network, call up, demand an answer. If you do that consistently on a daily basis, you will start to get interviews.
Yeah, exactly that. We ran a poll yesterday and it suggested that most people are going direct for jobs. Don't use that as your only point of call. Use all the mediums and platforms as possible because it's going to give you the best chance of obviously finding the job.
Absolutely. Internal recruiters, direct hiring managers, direct hiring managers, internal recruiters, normal recruiters, job boards, your own network, any medium you can, explore all opportunities.
Cool, excellent. And Melanie's reached out. She is in the management team of Value Added Reseller. They've just created a brand new role in the business. However, they've got no idea what to pay or how to target them. What advice can you give them around that?
Worryingly, but basically what should happen is any target should be a third of the overall package you want to pay the candidate. An example, if the target is £120,000, it should be an OTE of £40,000 to the candidate, so 25 plus 15 for example. £40,000 goes to overheads, £40,000 to profit. Now that could be on anything, £1.2 million, £6 million, whatever it could be. You know, there's big hitters out there earning sort of some big money. But if you base it on that, you wouldn't go far along in a reseller environment. So if it's a specialist role, might be slightly more, but if you're looking at a target, base it on at least a third system. It does depend on the situation, the software you're selling or the products or services that you're selling. But if you base it on that alone, you won't go far wrong. Lastly, though, not just doing that. That's just a sort of finger in the air, a quick example. Get some benchmarking of similar roles, of similar types of company organisations, and similar candidates from your recruiter. A recruiter will know that market. So if you go out to them and say, look, I'd like to do some benchmarking in the market, we're X type of reseller, we're thinking of this sort of target, they will go and give you some benchmark of what similar organisations are paying and similar organisations are doing. At least you'll then get a gut feel from, a gut steer from the recruiter on what you should be paying. And that should be a standard from any decent recruiter.
Yeah, exactly that. And any variation in location? If the role's up north, if it's in the city?
Potentially there is the north-south divide. It is cheaper to get people up in the north because the standard of living, the cost of living, is less. But it still comes down to that target. You know, if you've got a target associated with a salesperson, you know you can do a third system quite easily on that. But also as well, benchmarking from a recruiter. You know, there'll be lots of recruiters up and down the country that'll be able to give you this information. But I would say, yes, it could be, but it's still down to actually what they're selling.
Yeah, excellent. And just linking that, we had one final question. What's the variations in salaries over the last few months? Has it changed the pandemic? Are we seeing a drop in salaries, or what's happening in the space at the moment?
Yeah, this won't be a popular answer. I put out a post about 2 weeks ago saying it's probably gone down 2 or 3%. I can see that going potentially down even more towards the end of the year, maybe almost like 5 or 6%. So if you're unemployed, it's going to be challenging to get a pay rise in this market, I would say. Yeah. You know, most people, when they actually want to look for a job, they're looking for probably a 25% pay increase. That's basic and OTE. That's what they're looking for. 15 to 25% overall pay increase on their overall package. At the moment, you should be aiming probably to keep the same. That's not going to be very popular, but at the moment, or even almost as well, you might be able to take a 5% pay cut, 6% pay cut, because at the moment, being employed at the moment is the key thing. People are going to be looking at candidates that are unemployed. They are going to be looking at people that have been made redundant. They are going to be looking at people that have been on the furlough scheme, and questioning if they're the talent they want in. Which I know is going to be unpopular, but it's just fact. They are going to be questioning about performance-related issues. Now, obviously, that's not ubiquitous for everyone that's been on furlough or been made redundant, but there will be people that have been shedded in the market, that have come onto the market, that companies won't want to pick up because they think, oh, actually, have they been shipped by another company? So, hopefully you're not one of those people, but if you are, make sure you put yourself in the best situation to think, right, I will take a similar salary, or may take a 5% pay cut to get myself back into back in the game.
Yeah, exactly that. Well, I appreciate that. Keep your questions coming in. We'll try and roll this every week. We've actually had some video questions pop in this week, so we'll be showing some of them next week. Like I said, keep them coming in, and we'll answer them as best we can. Thank you very much, channel.
Roger out.